What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, my name is Ryan. Welcome, and today we're going to be going over an upper body training session. Now, I structure all of my upper body workouts in kind of this exact same template style. So I like to do antagonist paired supersets. That means I pair up pushes with pulls, bis with tries, and I'll even throw in some other accessory movements like calf raises in between movements that aren't really that fatiguing, or I'm not out of breath. Hopefully I'm not out of breath really all that often on an upper body day, but I might have to get on the treadmill if you ever see me doing that. So a superset style of training, and I will normally do 2 pushes, 2 pulls, some arm isolation, and then I'll kind of throw in whatever I'm feeling like in the mix that I need to train. So normally that's either abs, calves, forearms, neck. I actually think I might do all of those in this video. So without further ado, let's get into the training session and see how we break down this upper body day. Okay, so starting off the training session with some posing. I'm just kidding. This is after the session. I recommend you do the same if you're going to do posing during your session. But with that out of the way, we get into the workout. Now, I start off my day with a pull here. I like to do kind of a heavier horizontal pull. So I went with the T-bar row. It's a little more challenging in the lengthened position than the standard dumbbell row, barbell row, or any other rowing variation you can think of. And I like to use a little cheat out of the bottom here. You see, not afraid to move that spine around so I can get a little more range of motion out of the movement, kind of accentuate the eccentric. So we know that's pretty good for muscle growth in the long run. And then I also do some cheat reps at the end here because why not? It's free real estate and I can take that. I superset that with some dips right here. I have a 25-pound dumbbell in between my knees right there, and I find that's easier than putting on a lifting belt and taking it off, and I'm not that strong yet, so I'm okay with that 25-pound plate, and I knocked those out for about sets of 10 to 12. That was my last set there, so really struggling on that one. And then going into the next superset, I know I said I'd do 2 pushes, but really I kind of categorize it as 2 chest movements, 2 back movements. So moving on to an incline dumbbell press here, and this is something I've really seen a lot of progress on lately. You can see I kind of have a deficit from left to right. My left to right side moves a little differently. And if you can't tell from the little scars here, I actually am coming back from a shoulder operation. So it's not quite there. It's still not quite there. I have a video series on my channel kind of outlining how I trained, what happened, and how I made it through that recovery process. If you're interested, I'll link that above and down below. Now you see these sets are very hard. I'm a huge believer in hard training. Like I don't, especially for muscle growth, I don't see the rationale in really holding reps back. I've never had a recovery issue. Granted, I haven't been lifting, all that long, but I think I have a fair amount of experience, about 3.5 years. That's just been it for me. So I lift pretty hard. And the superset here, you see we're going on to a Hammerstrength pull down. This is a great machine if you have access to it. And shifting back further in the pad right here, you see now the moment arm is the longest when our lat is in its longest position. So all that means is that we have the most tension when our lat is in that lengthened position, which is what we're looking for. That's pretty unique. You can't get that out of a lot of back movements. So if you have that Hammerstrength machine, it's really cool to take advantage of that. And then moving on to the arm isolation section of the lift, a pretty lengthened biased cable lateral raise here. You see I'm pretty disgusting with my form on this one, and that's just because I really feel that cheating and getting more out of that lengthened position and more eccentric stimulus is a must, and it's kind of like a guarantee to train hard. I'm not a real big stickler for form because I feel like it can actually limit you. So I think everything within reason, and I have a rationale for why I do certain things, and I think that's really important. If you find yourself doing some form in the gym and there's nothing really explaining it besides maybe just the weight you can move, you might reanalyze that. But for the majority of people, that's not an issue. And adding a little body English is probably well advised. So you see here, kind of cranking out the same idea, those eccentrics on the overhand or over the cable rope overhead tricep extension. Say that 5 times fast. And now I get to kind of riff on this one. So this basically takes what's good about the incline curl what's good about the preacher curl, it makes it even better. So we have the most tension in the lengthened position. Our elbow is fully supported. Our elbow is further back by our side, which means our shoulder is more extended. So our biceps are at a longer muscle length, which we know is good for muscle growth. So now we're having more tension at a longer muscle length, an absolute longer muscle length than standard preacher curl. It's super stable. It's fun. Who doesn't like to lay down in the gym and crank out some reps there? And now for one of the least aesthetically pleasing exercises that I can do, even though I think it might have the most aesthetic effect on your physique, is trying to build that neck musculature. So I do this on an incline because it actually makes the bottom portion harder. Same thing that you'll notice a trend. With all the latest muscle growth research coming out on long muscle length training and tension at a long muscle length, I'm kind of finding ways to make my training more lengthened biased and how we can take classic movements that are also easy to set up and make the most out of them. So the neck curl, I'll superset that right there on the same incline bench with this incline dumbbell curl, or an incline wrist curl, sorry. Same rationale. When your wrist is at its longest length on the like normal horizontal bench, you basically have no tension at the bottom and the most tension at the short position. So by being on an incline, we kind of we don't necessarily completely change the resistance profile, but we make it much more skewed towards that lengthened position. So just a few minor tweaks to your training. I don't know if it's going to pay off. I enjoy training that way. I know a lot of guys on the internet are kind of overselling the whole lengthened partials hypertrophy thing. And if you don't know what that is, that's okay. I'll link some articles down below. I think there is something there. There's no doubt. There's been a lot of research coming out about it. So I try and incorporate it where I can, but at the same time, not being unreasonable and just excluding entire classes of movements because they're short biased. Okay, guys, that's all I've got for this one. I hope you enjoyed the upper body training session. Try it out for yourself, play around with the movements. Another thing I forgot to mention, I mentioned that I do it all superset style, but I do everything for 4 sets. And that's really for no other reason than it's easier for me to count. Instead of doing, oh, I'm going to do 2 sets for this, and then I'll do 5 sets for this exercise. I just like to normalize it. 4 sets for everything. That's a good amount of volume for me. That gets me in and out of the gym in around an hour, hour and a half. And yeah, that just works. So if y'all would give that a shot, I would highly recommend it. I think this is a great upper body training session if you're looking to put on some size. So if you enjoy this, I would appreciate a like and subscribe if you want to see more content like this, and I will see you in that next video.